Ukrainian armed forces shared a video on Sunday of a Russian tank bursting into flames before it exploded. In its Facebook post, the Ukrainian armed forces uploaded a video of a tank that was moving across a large field that was covered in patches of snow. The clip, which was filmed at a significant distance, shows the armored vehicle on fire as it continues across the field before coming to a halt. Seconds later, a larger flame could be seen coming from the tank, with smoke being carried over the field. The video then cuts to show the same tank exploding with a large plume of black smoke being launched into the sky. A caption for the video, which was translated into English from Ukrainian, read, "This is how Russian equipment in Ukraine becomes scrap and the occupiers are missing." The 72nd Separate Mechanized Brigade, named after Black Zaporozhets, knows how to do it perfectly. Ukraine, 72nd Mechanized Brigade, has been heavily involved in the war since Russia launched its invasion nearly 1 year ago. According to another Facebook post, Ukraine's armed forces said that 3,310 Russian tanks have been destroyed by the nation's military since the start of the war, according to warfare research group warleaks. 277 Ukrainian tanks have been destroyed, although it was part of a larger total of 467, also listed as abandoned, captured or damaged. Your boss. A video shared on Twitter by Russian opposition outlet ukrainie.ru shows at least 4 Russian vehicles, namely tanks and armored personnel carriers, moving through a minefield. Additional explosions could be seen affecting 2 other vehicles in the video. The location of the video was listed as Donetsk in eastern Ukraine. In the clip, military personnel could be seen leaving the vehicles before the video cut to an explosion that happened. At the same time, the International Institute for Strategic Studies ISS, a think tank based in the United Kingdom, said in its assessment last week that 50% of Russia's T-72B and T-72B3M tanks, as well as many of its T-80 tanks, had been destroyed by Ukrainian forces. The think tank also estimated that 1,700 Russian tanks had been lost since the war began. An estimate lower than the Ukrainians have published. However, Henry Boyd, a research fellow at ISS, said that his research does indicate the number could be larger. Russia lost over half of its T-72B battle tank stock in 1 year, almost a year into President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Russian forces have lost about half of their T-72B and T-72B3M main battle tanks, according to an assessment by a US-based think tank. Russian tank losses in the Ukraine war have been enormous. The Institute for the Study of War ISW, based in Washington, noted in its daily assessment of the conflict on Sunday. The losses amount to the equivalent of around 16 tank regiments worth and is likely hindering Russia's ability to reconstitute its tankiness rapidly, said the think tank, citing recent intelligence estimates by Dutch open-source investigative organization Oryx and the British Research Institute. The International Institute for Strategic Studies ISS. The ISS.W noted that Oryx verified over 1,000 distinct Russian tank losses and 500 captured tanks on February 9. This likely means that Russia has lost half of its pre-war tank fleet in the first year of the war. The IISS similarly noted that Russia had lost about 50% of its pre-war number of T-72B and T-72B3M main battle tanks. The ISW observed that the Russian armed forces don't appear to have a large number of tanks in usable stocks, and Russia doesn't appear able to produce tanks quickly either. Widespread tank losses also impact the capacities of motorized rifle formations to function effectively, but motorized rifle units require fewer tanks in each and can make better use of the large amount of relatively untrained manpower. The rushed Russian reserve mobilization has generated, the think tank said. Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine nears the 1-year mark. The small industrial city of Bakhmut in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region remains one of the most intense battlegrounds of the war. Russia and Ukrainian forces have engaged in grueling clashes in the area since July, as Moscow remains desperate for its first major battlefield victory since the summer of 2020. Russian troops are fixated on seizing Ukraine's eastern regions of Donetsk and Luhansk.